I wanted to take a trip down memory lane a little bit with you today because it was 10 years ago today when we had one of the most bizarre stories I've ever covered. It all unfolded live during my show. Shepard Smith reporting.
A little boy flying along at some 25 miles an hour, according to the reporting of 9 News in Denver, which is the NBC station, just floating along, and the chopper's following along with it, and no way to get him down, and with the word that the thing could stay up there for hours or days if it's not leaking helium, that a hard landing would be a very difficult thing because the thing is not all that stable, and it's not meant to have a human being in it, certainly not a 6-year-old boy.
So that was the report, that a big helium balloon, a 6-year-old boy had crawled in it, and it's flying through the sky. And we had to cover this live during my show, and I was so thrilled to cover this story with retired Seattle radio legend Tony Miner, who joins us 10 years later here on the Dori Monson Show. Hey, Tone.
Hey, Dori. How you doing, my man?
I texted Tony early this morning and said, do you know this is the 10-year anniversary of Balloon Boy? I actually thought it was probably longer ago than that. This is one of those cases where I thought it was 20 years ago, probably.
Well, this is one of those stories that will never leave you. You know, I remember this vividly. That day was just insane. It was crazy. Number one, that balloon, Dory, do you remember? It looked kind of like a UFO or something.
It looked like a cross between a UFO and a Jiffy Pop after he'd been on the stovetop.
It did. And inside is this little boy, and he's hurtling through space. I think, didn't he go across like 3 counties in Colorado or something like that? And, he went across 3 counties. So we didn't know if this kid was going to go way up in the atmosphere or not. Or is he going to come crashing down to Earth? And so, I mean, it was nuts. We're doing a blow-by-blow until the thing ended. It was crazy.
Well, yeah, and so we're also thinking, well, the kid could freeze to death up in this balloon. Like you said, he could pop the balloon and come crashing down. And I'll never forget that because you were coming in and doing updates, and Fox and CNN were live, and then you and I just pretty much sat in the studio the whole afternoon and narrated these live pictures of this balloon flying through the sky.
And then the thing finally comes down to Earth, if you remember, the big Jiffy Pop thing.
Yes.
Came back down to Earth, and we thought, oh, my God, is the kid okay? What's going on? Was he able to breathe up there? Is he hurt? And they look all through the balloon, and guess what? The kid isn't there.
But you know what I was really proud of, Tony? I truly think we were the first media outlet in the country to say, not definitively, but almost with certainty, that there's no way the kid was in the balloon, because I don't know if you remember this, but a listener started emailing me, and he was sending all of the formulas for the lift of helium and the weight of a 6-year-old boy, and he said there's absolutely no way that a balloon that size has a boy that's whatever they said he was, 50, 60 pounds. And he sent us the formulas of how big the balloon would have had to have been. And the guy was so awesome with his calculations that I think an hour before the balloon came down, we were saying there's no way the kid's in the balloon.
Well, I do remember that, Dory, and I'm not surprised because, as you know, during your show, frequently we were on the cutting edge.
That's right.
It was award-winning stuff. It was award-winning stuff every single day, and I'm not surprised that we knew that way ahead of time. And we beat the national media on a daily basis.
Exactly. Yes, we did. And then, the truth of the matter was, here was Wolf Blitzer's description of it.
Falcon was really in the garage this whole time. I don't know if Falcon can hear me, but was he, because I know at some point he fell asleep in that garage, but he was hiding out because he thought you were going to punish him for something that happened earlier in the day. Did he hear anything? Did he hear you screaming out, Falcon, Falcon?
He's asking Falcon, did you hear us calling your name at any time? You did?
You did?
Why didn't you come out?
Yes, sir.
That's where we found out the dad made this because he has the boy on live TV and says, "Why didn't you come out?" And the little kid said, "Because you said not to, obviously."
Yeah. Well, on further review, didn't it turn out that mom and dad were aspiring reality TV people?
Exactly.
And they wanted their own reality TV show or something like that?
Yes.
That's the deal?
And so they said that the boy was hiding, that they really thought he was up in the balloon, but it turns out that they just manufactured the whole hoax in the hopes, like you just said, of getting their own reality show. And the kid busted them on live TV when they talked to Wolf Blitzer. And it was just...
They deserved it because talk about loser parents to not only do something like this, but to drag your kid into it. I mean, come on.
I wonder if anybody's done an update 10 years later to see what's happened to that family. I need to look into that.
Well, something tells me they didn't get that big reality TV show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The thing I remember was the arc. I think it was almost a 3-hour story arc, and it broke right as I was going on the air, and then we found out about the hoax right as the show was ending. So it was just it was a perfect 3-hour arc that just fit in our show ideally.
Well, you want that to happen every single day on your show, right, Dori?
I know. Why don't you, in your retirement, start coming up with some hoaxes that I can report on, Tony?
We can do some fake news.
No, there's plenty of that elsewhere these days, believe me.
I would agree.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have so many fans here in our KIRO audience. How is life in retirement? I know how it is, but tell everybody else.
Well, believe it or not, Dori, it's been 6 years, almost to the day since I walked out the door there at KIRO. Hard to believe it's been 6 years, but life is good. I'm super busy. I'm involved in the maritime industry and with a couple different things that I'm doing, and not having to drive to Seattle every day, which is really good. I'm doing a travel podcast.
Nice.
It's been picked up by 14 or 15 little radio stations around the state called Exploring the Northwest. So I'm doing that as well, chasing a couple grandsons around and trying to stay out of trouble. So I'm here to say that there is life after radio, I guess, and life is good.
I know. I've told you many times. I want my retirement to be as happy as yours is. That's awesome, man. Well, 10 years ago,
I appreciate it.
10 years ago is when we made radio broadcasting history, Tony.
And it's something, Dori, that I'll never forget, my friend.
Okay. Thanks for popping on with me. It's really good talking to you.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Okay, Seattle radio legend, Tony Miner. 10 years ago today, we covered Balloon Boy. All right, text me. What do you think about all this? 98973. That's 98973. And we do have lots more straight ahead here on the Dori Monson